I remember each with poignant clarity.
There was that unforgettable summer of dinner theater where I was the only actress to understand all the roles in the entire season's repertoire.
Summer.
Okay. You think other films are more worthy to talk about, huh? You can have your Nerdwriter videos on Call Me By Your Name, or your Captain Christian videos on Her, and you could throw them away. You think talking about film with a detailed, objective film quality view like YMS, IHE, or Ralph the Movie Maker is what we do here? Nah, man. There is only one series, one true series that should be discussed in length on YouTube. The series that flows through my veins. High School Musical. No one, and I mean no one, has discussed this movie in a way they should. No one has looked at this series as a work of art. And that's what we're gonna do today. Alright, so High School Musical is a series I joke about occasionally on this channel. It's a series that I find to be so insanely overdramatic, but also full of intense charm that is unmatched by anything. These are three movies that defined a generation of kids, myself included. While they all have their collective songs that are straight up bangers,
banger after banger after banger,
High School Musical 2 has elements that you just can't reproduce if you tried. There are qualities to that film that go far beyond anything unintentionally bad or intentionally bad. We'll get into this film and why it stands as a true masterpiece, but first we need to talk about why the others fall short. So each High School Musical movie followed the same formula pretty much. A set event is discussed at the start of the film, the main character has some inner turmoil, and it all works out in the end, and yada yada yada. That's your basic 3-act structure. But let's get deeper. In High School Musical 1, the main characters are Troy, Gabriella, Chad, Ryan, and Sharpay. Troy is undeniably good at hockey, but also really good at opera.
Can you feel it?
He struggles between pursuing his urge to play basketball or pursue singing. Either one he does, people get sad and mad about it. To quickly break down the plot of the first one, rich pretty boy Zac Efron goes to a New Year's Eve party with his family. There, he gets rounded up to perform karaoke with this super shy but mega pretty girl. The song is a very on-the-nose, cheeky representation that these lovebirds are destined to be together, but psych, she runs away as soon as he gets her number. But when Troy gets back to school, when winter ends, oh boy, little Miss Pretty is there. What? Troy quickly booty calls her and gives the whole class detention in the process. Miss Sharpie sees Troy and Gabriella talking about the Book of Mormon and feels threatened because she wants to be the next American Idol, not her. Troy is at basketball practice and the only thing he can think of is Vanessa Hudgens, so he mans up by playing with his balls. Auditions for the Book of Mormon start, but Troy and Gabe are too late, so they trip the pianist out of anger. Mrs. Dobby is impressed by their tomfoolery and give them a chance to re-audition. The basketball bros overhear this and plan to break him and Vanessa up. They make him say some locker room talk about forgetting her and have the drama people live stream it, and you know it's real because the screen misspelled receiving. And Gabriella scene cries a summon to get Troy to come to her house, and they make up. They do some big musical numbers, and huzzah blah, that's the first movie. While it is the first movie to kick off this iconic series, it falls short on many things. A lot of the songs are straight garbage in comparison to the later movies. No matter how catchy you think Get Your Head in the Game is, it's disqualified for one simple reason. Troy isn't singing any of this.
Why am I feeling so wrong? My head's in the game, but my heart's in the song. She makes this feel so right. Should I go for it?
In the first movie, Zac Efron does jack all for singing, for any of the songs, and every time he's on screen spouting his vocals all around, it just looks like someone dubbed him with the latest Shawn Mendes track. It also has the weakest emotional moments out of all of them. In each film, there's always a sad song full of inner turmoil, and the one in this one is basic as hell. We just get Gabriella walking around an empty school all boo-hoo-like. Compare that to High School Musical 3 and you got Troy dancing around in the hallway like a Footloose Inception crossover. Oh baby, that's sexy. Or go even farther, take away the sexiness and unintentionally parody yourself by having your character dramatically twirl and frolic on a golf course. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, the Inner Turmoil song in this movie did follow Gabriella, unlike how it followed Troy in the later two films. But it was so boring and bland, the only nice thing on the screen is Vanessa Hudgens, who was just an overall heart killer the entire series. Being a little kid discovering my attraction to girls for the first time, seeing Vanessa Hudgens being all adorable and sweet is just like, oh baby, gotta go my own way? aka Your Way, Every Way, Subway, Have It Your Way. But High School Musical 1 doesn't really have anything memorable about it. Sure, you got the trash classics that were forced down your ear holes with musical toothbrushes. It's also a movie that feels innocent and sweet, but unlike High School Musical 2 where the cheese is the main meat of the movie, I just call cheese a meat. Unlike High School Musical 2 where the cheesiness adds layers to the charm, or in 3 where it's a little too serious but the production value is pretty amusing, the first movie doesn't feel like anything special. The most cheese you'll find is when Troy magically gets a spotlight on him in an overdramatic fashion. But since it's not actually Zac Efron singing, it's just meh. Now let's jump into High School Musical 3, senior year. Let's break down the plot of the third one. The film opens with the Wildcats playing a basketball game. Sweaty pretty boy Zac Efron is struggling, so he uses the power of the Red Sea to summon Gabriella. With the powerful words of belief, she gives him the strength to call in Jimmy James Jambalaya, aka Rocket Man, leading them to win the championship. Sharpie now has an assistant that acts like her in every way, except she's British. Mr. Feeney starts spouting her decree that the students are being considered for scholarships at King Julian School for Dance. But Troy's like, nah, I didn't apply, what's up with that? So he then grabs Chad McChad-Broseph, and they steal a bunch of clothes of Rocket Man and his friend and make them run naked throughout the school. Because if you're not sexually embarrassing people in high school, is it even high school? Chad McChadbro asks his crush on a date, and we get a genuinely fantastic song about prom. Sharpie does some emotional manipulation, and Gabriella soon goes to Coachella without Troy. This leads Troy to have a footloose song about choosing basketball or singing. Troy then stalks Gabriella and forces her to dance or die. They all get scholarships, graduate, and the end. It gets mad points since the production value was amplified by like 1,000. It was the only one to get a theatrical release, and it's clear that they put a lot of effort into upping the quality. Sets are constantly changing, becoming these big orchestra visuals, and there are a lot of straight bangers throughout.
Do I want classic or vintage or black? Where's the mirror? I think this tux is too baggy, too tight, it makes me look weird.
You got A Night to Remember, which is a very charming and adorable song that's just full of really good choreography. Scream is the inner Turmoil song that takes over the dramaticness to a hilarious degree, yet it still feels powerful. Troy sees a bunch of CGI balls fall around him and he furiously punches a bunch of the real ones, because when you're torn between which type of success you want, you just want to fucking pound the walls and footloose it up. If you aren't going up the stairs with flair, then what are you even doing? But the movie also falls really flat in some elements. It introduces a bunch of random characters that it's acting like it's passing the torch to, but it's pointless and just annoying. The plot basically follows the same beats as 1, except they all just are waiting for prom and to graduate. Just like in the other movies, there's a moment of temporary breakup between Troy and Gabriella that's instantly solved with song and dance. I'm mostly just personally mad at this movie since Netflix removed number 2 and replaced it with 3, and that is the greatest sin you could ever commit. Now, let's get to the best one. The true masterpiece that sparked the philosophical wisdom of Aristotle and Plato. High School Musical 2 is the best one in the entire series. It is a film that has affected my life so hard, I even made it my senior quote when I actually graduated high school. Looking at that quote, it just seems like it could be from any of the movies. And well, you're right. But I chose the quote specifically from High School Musical 2, and you'll find out why. To quickly break down the plot of this masterpiece, it's right about the start of summer. Troy, Gabriella, and Chad McChadbro all cause a riot about the impending vacation with a banger song.
What time is it?
4:30.
It's our vacation. What time is it?
Time's an illusion.
Sharpie and her brother Ryan plan to spend a lot of their time in their $1 million country club owned by their parents. Sharpie uses this as an opportunity to get in Troy's pants because Troy wants a summer job. Sharpie tells the manager, Mr. Fulton, at the country club to hire Troy at any cost. He hires Troy along with all the dank Wildcats, and this causes Sharpie to declare war. She battles for the affection of Troy by giving him incredible opportunities for jobs and athletic scholarships, and Gabriella returns fire by getting wet multiple times and sing crying in his face. This causes Troy to bounce around on the golf course to summon Gabriella in the heavens, and we then get an amazing celebratory song with a cameo from Hannah Montana. High School Musical 2 is perfection in every sense of the word, and I mean that ironically and non-ironically. It takes the literal high school out of the series and boosts the dramaticness to an insanely terrifying degree. It's the best one in the entire series, so listen up boys and girls, I'm about to break it down. To start, let's just compare a bunch of the types of songs, which is basically the whole drive of the series. High School Musical 2 has the best songs and visuals to accompany them in the entire series. So, let's compare. Some of these songs will overlap because they encapsulate a bunch of different categories, but I'm not going to make a Venn diagram because if I do, I'll only think about Eddie Burback and his sweet cult logos and knees. Damn. A lot of this will be incredibly subjective, of course, just a warning. Starting with the opening songs, High School Musical 2 has both beaten out by a mile. While it's kind of adorable in the first film that the first song is between Troy and Gabriella,
That is the start of something new. It feels so right to be.
it doesn't hold a candle to the stunning choreography displayed in the start of 2.
It's an education vacation,
And the party never has to stop. We've got things to do. We'll see you soon.
and we're really gonna miss you all.
While the opening of 3 does have a higher production value, there's nothing special going on except the fact that they're singing while playing basketball. Now let's look at the romantic songs. The romantic song of the first one is also the opener. For 3, you have Right Here, Right Now,
Can you imagine what would happen if we could have any dream?
and for 2, you have You Are the Music in Me.
Your harmony to the melody echoing inside my head.
An adorable little number played around the piano, but it gets points for whatever the hell Troy is doing here. Like, why is he being a little creeper? While the first one is adorable for all the reasons I've already stated, 2 has the extra element of playing the song with a different type of flow and chemistry with Sharpay,
Your harmony to the melody that's echoing inside my head.
that adds layers to the specialty of the bond between Troy and Gabriella. And looking at Right Here, Right Now from 3, it's just a lovey-dovey song in a treehouse. There's nothing special about it. Now let's look at Sharpay's songs. In each movie there's a song usually themed around Sharpay and her drive to be the top of the glamour world and whatnot. The first one has Stick to the Status Quo, where she seemingly sparks a mob mentality for everyone staying in their bubbles and not wanting to branch out. It's cute and basic.
This is not what I want. This is not what I planned. And I just gotta say, I do not understand.
In 3, she has I Want It All, where she sings about wanting to be a superstar and wanting everything.
Fame and fortune and more, I want it all.
And in 2, she has Fabulous, where she sings about wanting everything and all that is quite fabulous.
The whole world according to moi. Excuse me. Thank you.
The 1 and 2 stands as the best because simply just looking at the effort displayed in this one goes far beyond the other 2. While they all have nice dance numbers and huge choreography, only the second one tries its best to give pretty amusing angles and give a little cheekiness to the whole thing. Now let's look at the breakup songs. 1 surprisingly doesn't have one with both Troy and Gabriella together. It just has When There Was Me and You, which in all honesty is an actual garbage song.
It's funny when you find yourself looking from the outside.
3 has Walk Away, which is pretty sad, but it's also kind of funny since they're singing alongside each other by thinking about each other. And 2 has the granddaddy out of all of them, the most iconic song in history, Gotta Go My Own Way.
I gotta say what's on my mind. Something about us doesn't seem right these days.
Gotta Go My Own Way is the best song of all time. The overdramaticness of Gabriella singing directly in Troy's face is hilarious, but sad. Her vocal delivery is actually quite fantastic, and the simple fact that on the soundtrack she adds an overdramatic moan of Troy, and not in the actual music number, is so amazing.
Troy. Listen.
I simply had to make that my senior quote in high school. Why on earth is she dramatically saying Troy at the start of the song, but not in the movie? I just think it's stunning. And now let's look at the inner Turmoil songs. In each movie there's a song where either Troy or Gabriella sing about personal conflicts, and for the first movie it overlaps with the breakup song for Gabriella. And it's basically just her walking around school singing to a massive face of Troy on the wall. In 3, I already talked about the amazing song Scream, where the set is constantly moving and Troy is dancing all over the place. but you just can't bet on it in the second movie. The simple act of Troy dancing around like this on a golf course is absolutely insane. They planned every single small detail in his actions. Just looking at the behind the scenes, it's so charming how much all of this was planned.
You know what happened is she just jumped on it. Okay. The tendency is you want to spring up, don't. Grab the sand, rise up slowly. Your head brings your body up. Your eyes bring your body up.
They literally made Zac Efron perfect the art of dramatic sand tossing. The director Kenny Ortega constantly acted out the insanely overdramatic actions. For the simple action of planning your character to take out a golf club as part of a revelatory moment for your character is absolutely amazing, hilarious, and charming. High School Musical 2 doesn't even have the high school aspect, yet it outshines the other movies in every way. While 3 has a higher production value and crazier set designs, the second one takes advantage of basic areas to provide the most creative actions imaginable in each of them. I mean, they literally have a whole song where they just grab pots and pans and these dudes do a sick breakdown with fucking pepper grinders. Meanwhile, the first one barely takes advantage of anything in its own physical space. The second one also stands as the best one simply because of all the minor details it holds. Whether it be the mistakes or simply aspects added just to mess with our brains. On the mistake side, in the intro number, Troy magically changes the color of his underwear, which begs the question, what happened to the first pair? Did he shit his pants? Later on in Fabulous, you can see the light panels from the film crew and Sharpay's sunglasses, and later on during I Don't Dance, you can see a cameraman clearly walk in frame. Later on during the final dance number of Every Day, Ryan randomly dropped his hat. And later on, when he's given a trophy by his sister, he instantly breaks it when he hugs her and it's fixed in the next shot. These are all things that are just kept in, and it's so amusing. During one of the final shots, we pan across all these characters in front of a night sky, and obviously the night sky was green screen, right? Yet when we go over this guy's head, it's completely see-through, and we can see the stars through his forehead, which just begs the question, why? Why is that even a mistake, and how did it happen? And in the very final song, Chad just fucking drops his mic. I love all of this. All the small mistakes are just simply beautiful and add to all the charm. During I Don't Dance, it's widely recognized of the extreme sexual tension that Chad and Ryan have while they start swinging around large wooden sticks.
Swing it out, spin around, do the dance. I wanna play ball, not dance hall. I'm making a triple, not a curtain call.
And in the very next scene they're in, they switch clothes. Like, did they bang and are now wearing each other's clothes? This is literally never explained, and it's amazing. Also, the colors are just a lot more vibrant in 2. While 3 has a better production, the second one is so insanely saturated with bright colors that it literally has the happiest tone. I mean, just look at the green on the golf course. Here's normal green on a golf course, and here's the one in High School Musical 2. Normal green, then in 2. Normal green, then in 2. The colors just simply pop. High School Musical 2 stands as the best one in the entire series, just for everything it encompasses. From the extra choreography and the musical numbers, for the charming mistakes, to the overdramaticness, to the fact that it has nothing to do with a high school and it's actually the best one out of all of them. And it's genuinely just so full of cheese that it actually becomes self-aware. I don't know what happened with the director during the filming of the second one, but I'm incredibly glad he chose to add so much cheese that is unmatched by the other 3, and that is why High School Musical 2 is the best one. These films are a time capsule. They capture the most over-cliched tropes of any teen in high school with so much cheese that it's just fascinating to experience. You can hate these movies or love them jokefully like I do. Either way, they were very important. I just want to give a shout out to Pravakin, Mike Nelson, Charlie Bidgood, YTT Hunter, and Pedro for their amazing support on Patreon, as well as to all of the other Patreons that made this video possible. Thanks for all your support, and go watch High School Musical 2.